45.
Looks like Tom Duncan.
Sounds like, must be a duck.
Jersey girls are the best.
Yeah.
What?
The bunny ears are back. All right, welcome back to another edition of Laugh Underneath the podcast. And we are playing a special song here. I hope I don't get sued over this, but I imagine our guest, this has to be their like theme song. Like this has to be the one that every holiday party gets requested the most. We have the one, the only Darin Dawson from BombBomb. How you doing, Darin?
Oh man, I gotta tell you, I've had a lot of walk-on music in my life, and I've never had this one. And you're right that it makes all the sense.
How could that
This might be my new walk-on music forever. Dude, you just blew my mind a little bit. It's great. I've had Post Malone, I've had a lot of cool walk-on music, but I have not had that. That's fantastic.
I mean, if your company's name is BombBomb, you've got to get the Gap band together again and say, dude, one show, please, I'm begging you.
Well, I can tell you right now, we're gonna have a good time today. I'm pumped already. You just it's been a rough morning. You just turned the corner for me. It's great.
Awesome, man. Well, listen, Darin, thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you for sponsoring the show today. This is an amazing moment because I have been a big user of BombBomb, so I didn't tell you that in the pre-show. You know what I mean? Because I love BombBomb. When I saw your agent or whatever asked to be on the show, it was like an easy yes, come on board. There wasn't too much guessing on that because look, I could do honestly, I'm not joking when I tell you this. I could do the whole show for you.
Well, maybe, that'd be easier. Save me a bunch of time. We should just
you go back to do your own show. I'll just talk about BombBomb for 40 minutes and bore the hell out of the guys. But
well, thank you, man. That's very honoring. I appreciate that. I really do.
No, we've been using BombBomb for a while, and you guys have done a great job. I mean, it just seems like when you think everything is kind of like, okay, they can't get too much better, and we'll get into this, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. Let's take a pause, right? Let's calm down. We got Darin Dawson from BombBomb on here. Now you started BombBomb or something like. Hold on, it was like 06. Was it 06 or 96?
Yeah, you're doing your research, man. I'm impressed. Most people don't know that. Yeah. So Connor McCluskey and myself were the co-founders. And, back in 2006, we were running sales and marketing teams. We've always been sales and marketing guys. I mean, God, it'd be way cooler if we could send a video. Really is that. And we want to enable our sales teams and ourselves. If we could send a video. We're always calling people to interrupt them,
right,
tell them something. And we thought, man, if we could send a video, we could be ourselves, which we're pretty good face to face. And we could talk about what we want to talk to them about. We thought that'd be better than leaving voicemails and sending emails. But what we quickly found is no one did that. Well, if you flash back, it's like this device. I'm holding an iPhone in my hand.
Sure. Yeah.
No camera in that. It was Gen 1. People were using something called a flip cam, if you remember that.
Oh, yeah.
Elephant-sized videos. That was very popular. Email was robust and it was constant contact and MailChimp were there.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, we decided we should do this. We're always entrepreneurial,
Let me interrupt here for a second, Darin, because when I was reading the story, okay, so Connor says, hey, we should do a video. He became the first guy to actually do the video, right? So
yeah.
Who thinks like that? Like I'm in 06 and I had to go back to 06 in my mind when I was getting ready for the show. I was like, okay, 06, we were like, so
YouTube was privately held. YouTube's private company. Yeah.
I mean, MySpace was
new.
MySpace. Everything was on MySpace in 06, right?
You were searching things on Yahoo.
So who was Alta Vista, AskJeeves.com.
AOL was still a real company.
Yeah. And you guys say, hey, we should make a video and be able to send that, even though we don't have the bandwidth to really send videos today.
We were poor for a long time. And then we weren't, and then it started working.
Awesome,
yeah, you're nailing it, man. Like we just thought it'd be better. We were always entrepreneurial. And everybody, you might ask, where's the BombBomb name come from? I bet that's next. It's because back then, the other thing that you did, and I did it, and you probably did too, is you collected URLs that you thought were cool and that were going to be worth something someday.
Yep. Oh,
so
yeah.
Connor, we get this. I'm standing in my kitchen. I can still see this. And I'm like, he's like, dude, So we put a server in his closet, put a video on a server in his closet, and emailed it like as an attachment. Everybody's heads blew off. I thought this was the coolest thing ever, but everybody, wanted it. And it just simply was like, "Hi, I'm Connor McCluskey. If I could help you in any way, call me on my personal line." And it goes, and it points at his signature line. That was the whole video.
Awesome,
we should put it on the BombBomb webpage.
You should.
I bet we'd explode views, right? So
you should.
But anyway, he sends us out. Everybody goes nuts. And then he comes to my house. He's like, "Dude, everybody loves this. We should do this." If you meet my buddy Connor, I'm doing a perfect impression. He's a wild man. He goes, "We'll use the BombBomb one for this," because he was dating a girl maybe 3 years before who told him he was the bomb.com.
Okay.
Like, that's a great, well, I'm going to buy that. But bomb.com was taken. So he bought bomb.com. And later, bomb.com tried to sell to us. We're like, "No, we're good. We're good with BombBomb."
So the name has no meaning other than Connor got some
it
girl
dates itself, because back in 2006, you were saying you're the bomb, and that's the thing. But it's served us very well. I was in Las Vegas last week at a conference, and I'm picking up my badge, and this happens, I would say 8 times out of 10. If I'm picking up my badge at a conference, they say something about the name. They go, like the first time I ever did it, they said, "I just wanted to see who would pick this up. Who has this? What is this?" I get my rental car. I was in Tucson a month ago, and I'm getting my rental car. They're like, "What is BombBomb?" Because they see it on the. I'm like, "Yeah, I get it constantly."
It is a pretty unusual name. There's no doubt about it, right? I mean, and it catches your attention, and then you realize, okay, so they're a video company, and it's so prior to this conversation with you, Darin, right? I'm thinking, okay, the reason is because they're doing email marketing and they're bombing the hell out of the people that are doing blah blah blah. Hence the name Bomb. I'm coming up with all these things in my head, and you're like, "No."
We used to have this thing like we explode your marketing, we carpet bomb. Like,
thank you.
That stuff doesn't age well. So we didn't do that. So no, it's just one of those unique names that we had the URL on, and that it's a SaaS thing. We were doing that before like tech companies were doing any of that, though.
Okay. Whose personality is more in BombBomb? Is it your personality, or is it Connor's personality?
Connor's.
That's
a great question, man. I think Connor would answer it this way. This is how I'd answer that. BombBomb doesn't exist without both of us. So he has a lot of strengths that I don't possess. I have a lot that he doesn't possess. Mm-hmm. Connor is a mountaintop preacher, man. He is an evangelist. And I am the pragmatic, like, let's get it done and execute and drive, my driver, and Connor is too, just in a different way. He's the wild man, wild ideas, and it takes both. We're both very entrepreneurial. I think both different skill sets. I've known Connor for going on 25 years. We owned a business before this together.
Oh, wow. Okay.
We lived together. We have known him since he was 20, so we grew up in the same town, although I was 4 years older than him. I was friends with his sister. Like, this goes back a long time. Okay. So this is,
by the way, I'm going to blow your mind. You were friends with him in a town in Michigan.
That's okay. Wow. Yes. So I grew up in a town called Jackson, Michigan.
There you go.
Shout out to my Jackson peeps if you're listening. Not a lot goes on in Jackson. It's a fine place to grow up, but not a lot of tech happening going on there.
I'm sure.
But I moved out to Colorado when I was 21, and then he probably moved out here maybe 4 years after I did.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean,
we met out here through a mutual friend. Yeah.
So you guys have had a long-lasting friendship. It's turned into a great partnership.
Yeah.
But the personality, I love this because we get a lot of fintech guys on the show, right? And I love fintech, by the way. You know what I mean? Before this podcast ever started, I had no idea how much I love fintech. And so when I started doing the show and meeting people, I was like, you know what? Give me these guys that are pushing my industry forward. It's cool to have top loan officers, and I get that. There's blah, blah, blah. I do, 100 million a month or whatever, and I got it. I mean, but who's the guys that are pushing us? And it turned out there was a fintech guy. So the personality, because I look at BombBomb, right? A couple of things come to my mind when I think of BombBomb, right? Ease of use.
Thank you.
You just can't get too much easier than BombBomb. If you're afraid of video marketing, it's just that simple. You know what I mean? And the
I'm
fact
going to take that compliment all the way. We worked very hard at that. Yeah,
it's the truth. I mean, and then it goes through in a fraction of a second, right? So my video is never lost, right? It's always there, and we
God
use
willing.
it.
Yeah, haven't
use
lost one in a long time. There was a time when we lost one. That's happened. It's been decade at least since that happened. Yeah.
So when I think of that ease of use, I think of speed. Obviously, I'm thinking there's somebody there that's got looks. I mean, based on what you're just telling me, right? Maybe it's Connor. Maybe we should have had him on the show. I don't know. Right? Because it seems like a pragmatic guy may not be so pragmatic to think that this is possible. You got to be almost a visionary.
I'm a pragmatic person on acid a little bit. I might describe myself that. I mean, we're both insanely driven, right?
That's
like,
awesome.
Yeah. But Connor's a wild man. I can go there. I'll go. I won't disappoint.
Well, let me ask you a question. You guys have obviously had a huge run. So you start off in 2006. No one's even thinking about videos and sending them an email. I mean,
listen, I didn't quit my job. I quit my day job in 2011. Connor quit his right away. I'm like, I got kids, dude. Like, no, I was married and he was not. And I'm like, no, dude, I can't quit yet. Yeah. And we won't dive into that. But
so you're coming up on like 17 years in business.
Connor is, yeah.
Let's say BombBomb is. Let's say BombBomb is coming up.
Yeah. We got our first customers in 2012.
Okay. When you get your first customer, what does that actually feel like? I mean, you guys have now you can now prove this thing that you guys are trying to build, right? Building for 6 years.
Yeah. We were working on that 2011. Our goal was Drive the 5 was our theme. And we used Rockefeller Habits to drive our business. And our theme was Drive the 5. We just kept redoing it because we were trying to get 500 users in a quarter. It took us all year to get 500 users.
Wow.
But then when we did, we actually kind of got it figured out. And now a guy who's our CMO. And I think when you think about who's the faces behind it, we have many faces. I think that's one of the things that I think we did well is we've enabled others to be the face of BombBomb sometimes. Okay. Right.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
We have a couple of books that we wrote. I didn't write them. You don't want me writing anything. Connor didn't write them. We had some other people do that. But so one of those guys, our CMO, actually Steve Pastinelli, he was with Realtor.com at the time, and he had a blog back then called Tech Savvy Agent with a guy named Chris Smith, and they wrote a blog post about us, and we got a ton of real estate leads. Okay. And in fact, we got a ton of mortgage leads. So realtor leads and mortgage leads. Started buying BombBomb like crazy. I called him up and I'm like, hey, where do I send the check? Who are you? What the hell? He goes, you guys should be in real estate, mortgage, title, realtors. They'd love your business. They need video. So we go to this event called Keller Williams Family Reunion. Big deal, right? Yep. We sold 400 accounts in 2 days. I couldn't even go to the bathroom because we didn't have a good enough process to sign people up because it just boom. So it took us a year to get 500 accounts. And then in 2 days, an event like that, we sold 400. Wow. And that kind of started. We continued to do those real estate events and build a business.
I was talking to Jeff Lobb yesterday. He said he knows
you. I count Jeff as one of my greatest friends. Absolutely. Yeah.
So we worked together.
Did you ask him about BombBomb?
Yeah, we did because
he witnessed that. He witnessed that entire thing. I just told you he was there. Yeah.
So he was actually talking about. He said, "Hey, talk to Darin. Tell him I said hi. If Connor's on the show." I said, "I don't think Connor's on the show." But so your foray into real estate was it real estate first and mortgages second, or didn't make any difference? Like you were just like wherever the check comes from.
They were. I mean, our earliest customers, I can tell you who it was. There's a guy named Stu. Stu, if you're listening. Still love you, Stu. He was at that time was with SunTrust Bank. I think he's most recently with Prime Lending. He created a video called "To a Stu," and this guy was a former a sports broadcaster on TV. So he had his own green screen, his whole thing, and he'd do this "To a Stu" every Tuesday, and he'd send it out to the Sotheby's in Atlanta, Georgia. He worked with. He was the in-house lender for Sotheby's, and he sent it out everything. He's like, dude, this made me famous. I'm crushing it. So a lot of our early Pete Green, another great guy, friend of mine, early on, still great customer, great friend. And those guys have been with us since 2012. So
that's your question. You get this amazing success, right? And one of the things that I really want people to understand, because look, we look at BombBomb as, at least I do. It's there's other people that are trying to do what you guys are doing, but there's BombBomb, right? Just like there's other CRMs and LOSs.
Sure, yeah.
I don't want to go down it, right? What about the failures? What about all the times that sucked?
Where would you like me to begin?
I mean,
and sometimes you're still doing that. I mean, you just, as a business gets bigger, those things happen. It's just hard, it's building a business is not easy. Yeah.
Failure is a part of building a business and fulfilling a vision. Yes or no?
Correct. 100%.
Right?
Oh, no, I don't think you can be a successful business without failure. And if they're not telling you that they failed, they're lying.
There it is. There it is. See, because I think too often people, especially, look, I mean, I don't know, I'm 55, Darin. I don't know where you are, right? In the age bracket, right?
48,
yeah. Right. So if you look at the 20-somethings year old right now, they don't seem to understand that failing is cool. They seem to see like their pictures on Instagram and they want to dress up with these $800 bottles of champagne at a club and saying, I'm a CEO and we just got funded or something. You know what I mean? With some crypto cash. And it's like, dude, okay.
You're going to get me going down it. I don't know where you want to take this podcast.
Let's go,
listen, I mean, I started a business in 2006 before there was venture. Really, there wasn't venture capital, at least not for my business. No one was taking a risk on me. Like,
right.
Now it is. It's like now you can go to college for entrepreneurship, which I philosophically have problems with. Right, that you can just go and get that. I do think that's a gifting of some sort, or it's a disease. I was misunderstood all through. I never fit in. I didn't graduate college because I was hustling all the time. Like I was selling.
I was a music major. I dropped out.
Coupons.
How does a music major drop out of college? I mean, that's what I was. I couldn't even finish my music degree. All you got to do is show up and play your bass guitar, Fob. That's all you got to do.
Yeah, I was the worst student ever because I was bored with it. I don't know. Anyway, it's not that there's not a place for that. There absolutely is, but it wasn't my path. And so, but I agree. I was listening to a panel last week, and it's like talking about how millennials, third of them are living with their parents right now, and that most of them can't afford a home. This was a stat: can't afford a home that has a greater than 3.5% loan APR, mortgage rate, right? Well, that ship sailed. But the answer it really is they don't like the house that they can't afford.
Right.
Are you with me? Like they want to live, I think, in their parents' house. There's a great meme I've seen like that, it's like first time home buyer budget $1 million. Like
my daughter
combined income $65,000.
My daughter got her master's degree from Virginia Tech. I love her to pieces, right? She's 28 years old. Love her to pieces. Like she's like the main reason I get up out of bed next to my wife, probably, right? I should just say that for the show. So she goes and gets a townhouse to rent a townhouse. And she's like, well, I don't want to be too far away from work. This still puts me within, so I can be at work within 4 miles of her work. I'm thinking, hold on. Great. The first house that I bought, I never even measured the mileage. I was like, I can afford that payment.
The first house that my wife and I bought, the inspector, I wasn't able to make it to the inspection, told her he didn't feel comfortable with her buying this house because he felt like her dad. And I'm like, dude, what? Like in it, because we had to renovate it. It was a big time fixer upper, and the neighborhood was kind of sketch.
Yeah,
I still own that house. Yeah. And other people have paid the mortgage for 20 years now, buddy. Just so you know, Mr. Like, I think that was kind of the thing too. Like, well, we can't afford to go live up where my parents live. I think there's a misconception right now around that.
I think so.
I'm trying to speak to the hearts of my mortgage lender friends listening to this. Like, I know you know what I mean. Like this first time home buyer with a joint income of $65,000 trying to buy a house that's $1 million. I mean,
it's not. It's just. I mean, we've got to realign some values, but that's another topic. But so, advice to newcomers: if I'm a new guy in this fintech arena, I mean, gosh, I mean, we all go to conventions, we all go there, and it's like everybody's giving you these little squeezy balls and chains, and and every mortgage leader, just like I am, right? We get inundated with this. You got to try this new product. And we all have our traditional stack of fintech stuff, right? You got a X, Y, and Z. I don't want to name names right now, right? But they're boom, 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 right? And if I'm a new guy trying to break in the business and I'm looking at BombBomb, I'm like, okay, I got a better shot. I got a better mousetrap. What advice do you give to a guy like that?
It's the same I would give to a lot of people starting out. I think we would like to focus on what I call the trusted advisor. I think a lot, Dave Savage is a good buddy. We think about the same thing around this trusted advisor, but really you got to build trust. People buy from people they know, like, and trust. If you're just starting out, you're probably going to work with your friends, and their problem with you is that, well, Darin's never really done a mortgage before. How do I know I can trust? So you need to educate people. I think video does that best. Again, at the end of the day, somewhat we're in a commoditized market here, right? I mean, so a lot of other lenders are offering something similar. So what do I offer? What we're always going to offer is our unique who we are, humanity. Not to get too philosophical, but I'm probably going to get a little philosophical because if you come, if I have a landscaper come to my house and they both kind of, it's the same kind of thing. I tell them what I want and the price is pretty much the same and everything's the same. How do you decide which one you go with? It's because you like one more than the other, just being honest, right? And so you get to build relationships in a couple of ways, but technology is not great at that. Okay, so look, we got email, we got text, we got chat, we got all these things that kind of enable the velocity around technically trying to build relationships, even social media. But nothing does that like human connection, face-to-face, building empathy, building trust. This is why someone's going to keep coming back to you or begin to work with you in the first place, I think, because you're my friend, because I like you, because I trust you. You might be new, but you're working with a company that knows what they're doing. You have mentors around you to know what you're doing. And I would position it that way if you were new, right? But I mean, it's not about the first loan. It's about the refi and the third house I buy. And then, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't think everybody thinks about like the lifetime value of a client. And so relationship is king. And everybody agrees with this. The relationship is number one. Well, what are you doing about it? If you're just still sending text emails, texting, I mean, it's just not as good as what we're doing right now. I can see you. I'm a crazy maniac with my hand motions. Like you get that's who we are. So 90% of our communication is nonverbal, but we leave it to chance when we send text all the time.
So do you think young entrepreneurs are missing the boat when they think they can just do it out of the, I don't want to be funny, but out of a basement and not go to conventions and shake hands and build that trust and build that network? And even look, I mean, even go and ask for help from other trusted people that they can trust.
Well, you're talking about business people, like tech people or whatever. Listen, you're going to agree with this. You know, Jeff Lobb. I mean, I've known that guy for like 15 years. This business is built on relationships. You can't do it any other way. Sue Woodard, very dear friend of mine. I'm sure you know Sue.
Absolutely, loves Sue.
She preaches this, right? And she is so true. Yeah. So if you're in a tech business, you're listening to this, you got to show up and be a part and build relationships and get to know people. And they got to be able to count on you. And that what you say you're going to do. And that's how that works. I think that's kind of like how my dad taught me growing up though, too, right? I think some of these things aren't new, but I think we need to apply them more and bring them back. I think today what we do more of is just assault people with stuff from LinkedIn to email to, we call it digital pollution, because the pandemic even escalated all this. We just get tons and tons and tons of stuff, hoping that you'll do business with me. We got a lot of triggers. We talked about Alex Sales Boomerang. I love that company, but everybody's trying to do that. What if you get a trigger and you respond with a video? Maybe that's an automated video. You say, hey, how you doing? My name's Darin. I just want to introduce myself and let you know I'm here to help. Was there anything you didn't find online that I could answer for you? I'm a professional. I've done this for 20 years. Send that to the next lead you get when every other one of your competitors is sending a text message that looks exactly the same as everyone else's. And be yourself and bring your value to that response. You will get a different reaction.
I mean, I'll share a nugget right now with people who will listen to this later on. I have to, my part of my job is recruiting, right? So one element is I have to build different regions and stuff, right? So I will, when I get an appointment set up, I will literally set a BombBomb video and I'll say, hey, Darin, glad we're able to meet. I'll be talking to you next Tuesday at 9:30 in the morning. I'm excited about you. I've seen your resume, blah, blah, blah. In the meantime, if you have any questions, feel free to email me so we can be ready for your call. You know what happens? Nobody misses that 9:30 call.
Right. No, Do you know what you did there? Mate, you probably do. There's this little human nature thing called reciprocity. So it used to be when we sent emails to people, we felt even if I didn't want to talk to you, I was compelled to respond to you. That ship sailed. We don't even believe that the email that we get is from a human, let alone that we're going to respond to them. But if you send them a personal message and in the subject line, you say, personal video for Darin. And then you say, hey, how's it going? Just want to touch base. Sometimes it can be evergreen in that it's a video that's canned. You can use again. You can use that recruiting message as a perfect one to use to confirm your appointment every time, right? You don't have to tell them what the time is. You can send that video and the reciprocity kicks in. Oh, another human is saying to me, human, that I need to do, right? So they're going to show up more. So we know, we've proven this, that if your appointment setting, your set rates will go up, your holds will go up if you're using video as a part of that communication. So you hit on one core competency for BombBomb, which is speed the video. We work a lot about that. The second one we call guidance to success, and it's this. These tactics, they're not tricks or tips. They're I saw you Ty Duncan on, right? Great. Yeah, great. I saw in the intro. It's like that. I want to help you very tactically apply these things in your business.
I think it's just this tools. I mean, we talk about tools a lot of times when we're doing sales management and blah, 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 right? But the tools, if you have tools available and you're not using them, by the way, that's one of the biggest problems we hear, right? Is, Darin, I bought your stuff, but I'm only getting a 30% usage from my staff from it. You know what I mean? They're just not using it. And so what can we do for the price?
Exactly. I mean, so I always compare this to my Peloton. I have a Peloton over here. You can't see it, but I know if I get on that Peloton, I'm going to meet my weight goals. I'm going to look better. All that. I'm going to live longer. I hate it. I still don't. I hate getting on. I'm forcing myself all the time. Somewhat videos like that. And this is like the elephant in the room, right? Because some people are listening to this are going, yeah, but I just don't like how I look on camera. And the other thing is I don't like how I sound, because even now the way I sound to myself is not how you hear me, because we have an internal voice, right? And so when I watch the video back, your brain goes, oh, I don't like that. It literally like sends bad brain signals to say reject, panic. So you got to get over that. You got to get over the hump. It is like working out. It is like going to the gym. But once you receive the benefit, there is a benefit to sending video. And so what we train people on is send videos to begin with to people you know and like, and they like you and know you. Because if I sent the video to you, you'd say, oh, what's up, man? So good to see you. You get a different response than just another black text on a white screen thing that we're doing. Okay, so it's a different thing. And when you do that with your clients that have worked with you in the past, here's the video. Everyone can send this video today. Hey, it's Darin. Just want to check in. How's the house? How's the family? Hope you're doing well. Gosh, I can't believe it's been a year since you've been in that house. Oh, by the way, I know the market seems crazy, but if you know anybody that's looking to refi or move in, I sure would love to help them out. I can't wait to connect sometimes. Talk to you later. That's it. You do that message, you will make money. You'll get referrals.
What we're going to do for our audience is let them take that clip and send it to all their clients, and courtesy of Darin Dawson from BombBomb. How's that?
Dude, I'm telling you. I mean, there's money in your database. I heard this with David Savage. He called it the data bank. I'm like, damn, I'm stealing that. I just gave him credit, but I'm still the data bank. Do that message to your database. Do it and just pick 10. Pick like 10 a week to send that personal message to. Use their name. You will get referrals from that.
It's amazing. It's amazing the amount of money. I came from the life insurance industry before I got in the mortgage business, right? And
Same thing.
You're leaving money on the table if you're not asking for referrals, and if you're not going back into your database. If you're not doing that stuff, you're literally just leaving money for some other salesperson to come and pick it up off of your desk.
100% agree with you. Do you know?
Let's take
Brian
a shift. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. You know Brian Buffini. You know who that is?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to see him next week. We're going to San Diego, and like he's been a long-term customer, friend of ours. Same thing. Build his whole business under the concept you just talked about. Yeah. And his is this great. Oh, by the way, don't forget, I'm never too busy for referrals. Sounds cheesy. You know what? That works.
Dude, it's proven over and over again. We've all talked about it, but I call this a 5% club, right? I know that when I'm speaking at any event or any coaching session or whatever I'm doing, I'm only going to get a 5% response from somebody that's actually going to go execute what I just told them. And
And
the
the
other
other
95% will be pumped up for like 2
the
minutes.
other 80% is just sitting there complaining how bad the market is and how they can't do anything about it.
Yeah. So, what are you going to do? I mean, that's just the way. I want to do a shift here because I do want to talk to you about this new buzzword. It's not a buzzword, I guess. Maybe it is a buzz. Who knows? Chat GPT.
Oh yeah, okay.
Oh yeah, right. I mean, come on. Everybody's been like, have you been playing around with Chat GPT?
Yeah. I mean, I've been reading on this a lot. Like I'm always trying to be the futurist here and like kind of think about what's going on. Yep.
So me and Joe Wilson from Social Coach.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're doing a thing on February 22nd on LinkedIn Live. We're going to be teaching people how to create content using Chat GPT. The question for you is, as an email person, right? And I don't mean an email person, but a video, because BombBomb's associated with emails, right?
Sure.
Do you foresee Chat GPT writing my emails based on something that they're overhearing or that, I mean, I could kind of see something like that happening through Chat GPT and whatever those APIs or whatever you guys work out. Those
I agree with you. No, I definitely think that's going to be the case. Look, this is going to go in an interesting direction. I think.
Well, that's why I said we're going to do a shift because, I knew this was a hard shift. And I wanted to make
good.
Yeah,
I like it. Listen, we wrote a book called Human-Centered Communication.
Okay.
My mission in my life is to rehumanize the planet. That's a whole nother podcast. We should do that. It'd be really fun.
I love to have you back on for that. Yeah.
But to me, there has to be a place for human connection. I think that the pandemic did something, and that, back to this digital pollution term I'm using, especially in software as a service, what we did is we said, oh gosh, if I send 1,000 emails and I get a 0.05 response rate and that works in my spreadsheet, that makes sense and I make money. I think Chat GTP is going to accelerate even that. We're always trying to trick everybody into thinking that we're people. I've even seen a video company that recently came out, and it was kind of like a AI, even look like a real person, like they're getting really good. But dude, I kind of feel like in our beings, we know that it's not human. And I think at the end of the day, I do believe this, and I might be dated in saying this, but people still want to work with people in this big. And so when we're talking about the mortgage world, I can't build trust with AI. I can't.
Not yet.
Well, and I'm worried about building trust, I guess, with something that's not.
Because I love your story about the humanization, right?
Yeah.
Because you're actually saying we need to keep humans involved.
I think it's important.
I mean, that's literally it's kind of like when I was reading.
If you read more about me, and it sounds like you have, I have this whole thing where I think humans have intrinsic value, meaning that we have a different value than other created things.
Sure,
okay,
absolutely.
So, and then I think there's something about this sitting across the table, and I'm doing a deal that's the biggest investment I've ever done in my entire life that still matters, and I still need to do that. And I think where we're going to use Chat GTP is to create these opportunities and more at scale, maybe is the first thing. Of course, the leads. There's more leads than there are homes transacted a year. God.
Sure, but the thing is like, there's nothing more. I mean, I know the home is the biggest investment a person makes, right? But there's nothing more scary than sitting on a plane 30,000 foot above this planet. For me, at least, right? I don't know about anybody else, right? I want to make
sure I do that a lot, so I really can't even think about that.
yeah, but I mean, I was flying over the Atlantic Ocean to France one time, right?
Yeah.
And this is the worst thought to ever get when you're flying to France, right? Over the Atlantic Ocean. And I never had this thought before in all my flights. Like, what's keeping this thing floating?
Now, engineering.
Right. I've had people explain to me all this thrust and air, wind, and all.
Yeah,
I can even logic, but I can't figure this thing out, right? And so here's what I'm getting at, and the reason it's a very long-winded way to get here, Darin. At one point, there was a thing called a travel agent, and I would go to him and I'd say, "I'm going to Paris," and he'd say, "Okay, fine, boom, boom, boom," and he'd give me this nice little packet, you know what I mean? And now I go on my phone and I put up American Airlines app, and I'm like, all I'm worried about is I want to make sure I have my aisle seat, and if they can give me a complimentary upgrade because of my mileage points, right?
100%, yeah.
And there's no more fear. There's no more human touch there. Like, my buddy is going to take care of me when I get to Dallas, or what if my luggage gets lost?
Yeah.
So we've taken the humanization out of being 30,000 feet above this earth. So
my only counter to that is if you go to Italy. Now I live in a little town where there's a train that goes by every hour.
Cool,
on a few.
that's pretty cool. I love that.
It is. It's great. It's very quaint, but
Like-
it inevitably when I'm on a podcast it does this. So listen, my only counter to that is if you were to go to
guy Floyd cutting hair down the street.
I do.
People who are old like me will understand that joke.
I just got my hair cut, and I get my mail at the post office. I live in I live at 7,600 feet in Colorado, like in a little town. Anyway,
I'm gonna come live next to you.
it's great. My kids walk to school. So
awesome.
if you're going to Italy, would you use a travel agent then? If you didn't know, let's say you're going to plan a trip. I'm going to go to Capri. I'm going to go to Positano. I've never been. What's the best restaurants? I think.
If I was going with my wife, I would. If I was going with my wife, I would. If I was going with you or my buddy JP,
we just figure it out.
Yeah, we just figure it out. But if with my wife, absolutely. Yeah,
I'm going with my wife.
I want to make sure I'm protected. Absolutely.
And I want to know where to go. I want to know what the best restaurant was.
Absolutely.
If I didn't have a friend that had done this, I would do it with a travel agent. So I went to London, took my son on a trip to see a football game, as they say in the UK, right? And I used a travel agent I needed to know all the stuff. Where do I get this train at? Like, how do I get to Manchester from London? Where should I stay? Yeah. I think that's evolved, and maybe this business does too. Every time we try and commoditize the human being in some of these processes, I don't know is it efficient? Yeah. Is it better?
I don't know if it's better, right? I mean, I think sometimes it's like we got to keep the human.
Dallas is transactional. A vacation experience, once in a lifetime trip to the Amalfi Coast is not. So there's different things. If I'm buying him, look, I think there's a price point.
So here's the thing. So if I'm refining, do I need somebody?
Well, I think Rocket's kind of showing you what's going on there. I mean,
we have a home equity line now, by the way, FYI. I mean, no plug for my company, right? Homecomings Mortgage Equity. But in 15 minutes on the phone, the loan officer is not even involved. The client is either approved or denied, and they can go to closing in 10 days.
Okay, so let me riff on this a little bit, because I think a lot of people have a similar offering, correct? I mean, that's a very good one. Maybe I'm wrong about that. But there's a button I can click to get that done from a lot of your peers.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So who wins? Like, so in this, we're commoditizing again. So here's what I would do. If you get that opportunity, if that lead comes in, I would respond to it in a personal video and again, sell my value prop, because a lot of people, I can click a button and get a loan and get qualified today for a refi, at least, right? Like, especially a lot of people can do that. I have a lot of choices. If I want to refi my home, God, I'm going to go on the internet and go, what, refi? Or I'm going to call my boy, Scott Seaman. That's my mortgage guy.
Yeah.
And as long as Scott gives me a rate that I know is pretty good, I'm going to do it with him. I've done many with him. So that's why I don't know. I agree.
It's a weird moment. And by the way, I think ChatGPT for me, by the way, because JP was the first guy who told me about it, right? He goes, "Have you seen this ChatGPT?" Because JP is a nerd.
It's the buzz.
He just spent an entire weekend. I don't think he slept for like 72 hours. And so it was an amazing thing. And I went on there and said, "Can you type a poem about squirrels in the voice of William Shakespeare?" Like, that's my brain.
Good God. I don't know, man. Like, we might not be able to be friends. That's crazy.
That's the best I could come up with for my first ChatGPT encounter, right? And it did it. It wrote a poem about squirrels in the voice of William Shakespeare, and I love it.
And this is the rudimentary version, because now they're coming out with the 4.0 that's supposed to be even
right. And by the way, JP's got the Premium Plus already, or whatever. He's one of the paid subscribers to it, right? So
everybody's freaking out that college professors are freaking out because they think kids are just going to write their papers through ChatGPT.
Right. I mean, it's just
I would have, and I probably would have graduated college, but because I would have found the angle to get that done that way.
Right. And I don't want to dehumanize anybody. Quite honestly, I mean, I want the human interaction. That's why we created this podcast. You know what I mean? It was the weirdest moment of my life, and I was like, we were in a pandemic. And that's when this podcast got created.
Yeah.
To have that human involvement. And so it was necessary. So for me, the human involvement is key. I just wonder at what point does companies, now we're on the AI front, right? So now this is the new frontier that all companies will be talking about. This is where all the tech companies will be investing and so on. Where does BombBomb take that element and say, okay, we now have to incorporate, can I get a vector of Fabi for the video that Fabi wants, and he can just put in the feed what he wants the vector to say?
I'm kind of going in the opposite direction.
Okay.
Okay. So a little bit. I think there will be a future because of this movement that you will have a desire to know that this is actually really, really from a real person. There's gonna be this other opposite force of nature that, and that's where I'm leaning. So one of my tenets is like authenticity. I want to be that delivery mechanism. So when you get a BombBomb, for real, it's from a human being and from a real person. I think there needs to be this other side of that.
Okay.
I'm betting on the other side of it. There'll be plenty. Everyone's pushing on the AI. I'm going to be the authentic, real human person.
All right. We got our music playing right now. So Darin, see, this is we keep this thing tight around here. As you can tell, I mean, JP doesn't play around with me. So we appreciate you coming back on. coming on the show. I want to get you back on here, by the way.
I love you, man. We got too much for to unpack.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't get through anything that I wanted to talk about. That's the bad part. But please, let's get you back on here before the year's over. This was a great episode for me. Once again, Darin Dawson of BombBomb. So, dude, hang in there. We're gonna humanize the experience together. How's that?
Let's do it.
Let's end on that. JP, get me out of here, my brother.
45.
Looks like Tom Duncan.
Sounds like, must be a duck.
Jersey girls are the best.
Yeah.
What?
The bunny ears are back.